The more I look at regional event data, at least the limited amount I'm seeing, Megidramon is arguably one of the top performers of the format. And while various lists have the primary goal of building into Megidramon, attacking, and wiping the board before a number of shenanigans, is it fair to say that when I made the statement in my set review video that Guilmon X and Graumon X would be problematic cards? Today's short discussion video is going to go over this meta menace, and what you can do or build around to deal with it. In addition, by the end of the video, as much as people are enjoying the deck now, it is largely a deck that will likely see a hit due to 2 cards, which will be another element of this particular video. Guilmon has been a fan favorite since its appearance in Digimon Tamers, and although Bandai has been developing this Digimon on not necessarily one front, but multiple fronts, its time to shine has split from just the Gallantmon line into the chaotic evil Megidramon. But what's so significant about this deck? In looking over a lot of the lists, it's all about consistency, sometimes not even running the Takato Matsuki, and simply running memory boosts, trainings, and analog youth to find your pieces. Bottom line, when War Graumon attacks, this is potential GGs in a single turn. When attacking, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card, with Megidramon or Chaos Gallantmon in its name in the hand. For every 10 cards in both players' trashes, you reduce the effect's Digivolution cost by 1. So if you and your opponent have 20 cards between the two of you, Megidramon already goes from 4 to 2. But wait, there's more! This Digimon has Security Tech +1 and an end of attack once per turn effect that deletes all Digimon including itself. On deletion, you may play one playcost 3 or lower Digimon card with Guilmon or Graumon in its name from your trash without paying the cost. And then for every 10 cards in both players' trashes, you add 2 to this effect's playcost maximum. So 2 checks, and a float, big deal. The problem ultimately stems from the fact that if you promoted out a Graumon, you can go into Graumon X, which then if this Digimon is deleted, you get to play a Guilmon from the trash without paying the cost. Considering you could have multiple Rush Guilmons, this means that Megidramon's 2 checks, and then Rush Guilmon is a total of 4 checks. And assuming both Guilmons are deleted, you could have gained memory from a slew of inheritable effects, analog youths, or even pop memory boosts in order to play out BT13 Gallantmon. Because again, empty board. Off of 20 cards, you reduce the play cost by 8, which is fairly significant, and that's a 5th check. And for the coup de grace, the new promo Gallantmon has the same cost reduction, but looks for a Digimon with 13,000 DP or more in play. This can also be that Gallantmon that you just played. And remember, both Gallantmons have Rush. When playing against this deck, there are only a handful of ways to mitigate damage to yourself. The first being, can you block or preemptively delete or remove the Digimon before it hits the security? With blocking, you're going to lose your board anyway, but at least you're not going to give 2 free security checks for your opponent. And with Blast Digivolution, there are a multitude of ways to counteract Megidramon's end of turn effect by either de-Digivolving it, DP reducing it to nothing, or bouncing it before it gets to the timing. The only issue is, in today's meta and format, there's not much defense thought or control to the game. Everyone is just going hard into security as fast as possible. But of course, outside of very few ways to prevent Megidramon from going off, the remainder of today's discussion looks at potential limits for the deck. Largely, when Bandai first revealed Graumon X and Guilmon X, I felt a sense that at some point, this deck would be a problem. After all, X-Antibody Digimon have been notorious when it comes to being played in the Digimon card game, especially in the level 4 category. Greymon X, too good for its cheap reduction from BT12 Metal Greymon. Garurumon X, don't mind me, instant setup for my trash for my protection effect and memory gain. And then of course, Numemon X for being too floaty. Surprisingly, even though Numemon was hit for its ability to float itself back constantly, the issue now is we frequently see Digimon who can already float not just a Digimon being played, but a Tamer as well. And where is the justice in that? Because of what Graumon X can do in combination with Megidramon, the fact that you could be potentially floating 2 Rush Guilmons is the most ideal scenario, meaning that you'll have extra checks to boot. And even if there's a Digimon like Hexablaumon in play that would prevent your Digimon from suspending, this is also why going into Graumon X and then Skull Greymon follows a similar pattern to Greymon decks in that on deletion, you float out the Guilmon per Graumon X's effect, and also get to delete the lowest level Digimon. Of course, there is one other culprit that is going to have some potential restrictions when the next list drops. With the initial restriction of Hammerspark and the restriction of Blinding Ray and Jack Raid, you know there's one offender left amongst the memory gaining option cards. Gravity Crush has long held the title of being Red's way of Hammersparking, but it also lacks a security effect. While it's not busted like Hammerspark and Jack Raid, it's cards like Blinding Ray that ultimately made Magnamon X the menace it was several formats ago. And while players also argue that there are a few others, Tropical Venom is dependent on opponents' Digimon, while Parabolic Junk is dependent on your Digimon being deleted. Arguably, the previous 4 have immediate effects. Because of the immediate gain of memory, you're able to pull off playing those Digimon I had mentioned previously. So in the end, because of Megidramon, do you think one or both of these cards will be hit in the next restriction list? What are your thoughts, and have you played against a lot of Megidramon? Or is your local or store event more in line with something else? Let me know your thoughts on this particular topic, because by the end of this week, pre-orders will go live for Wave 2 sleeves. Get excited. This DIGI-PANDA, logging out.